Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Armchair Booking Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host. My name is Steve Barber. Joining me as my co-host, as always, is the dynamic Dwaylon Davis.
Hey, everybody.
And don't let your eyes deceive you, even though that is the Northern Wrestling Federation Tri-State Title, that is not Sinclair holding it. This is the Great King Titan.
That's right. It's not Sinclair. Sinclair met my friend here, and now I have this.
So this is maybe a little bit of a shock to people because this just happened 2 nights ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, it happened on Friday, actually.
Oh yeah, I guess 3 nights ago. Sorry, I've actually been on vacation for a little bit, which is a rarity for me. So yeah, I guess 3 nights ago. So, but welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it. And we will definitely get into talking about how you ended up with this, but we're going to go through a lot of other questions as well. So going back a little bit, because I know one of the first questions I always ask is how long have you actually been in the wrestling business?
So it's funny because yesterday, the 17th, marked my 17-year anniversary.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
So it's up there close to 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, most people are like, what? Excuse me? How old are you?
So yeah, because that'd be my next question, because
when did you start wrestling? How old were you when you started?
When I started training for a couple months before I turned 18 in 2005.
Okay. Well, yeah, Dwayne, he turned 18 in 2005. That still makes me feel old.
Yeah. I was on my second marriage in 2005.
So what originally inspired you to get in?
I was definitely like the wrestling kid. I always wore wrestling t-shirts to school and got sent home and stuff for having Stone Cold shirts and middle fingers and stuff. And my family watched it a lot. We would on Sundays every now and then go over to my grandma's house for pay-per-views and things like that. And it was just one of those things. I never thought I was always that kid who was like, I'm gonna be a wrestler, but like had absolutely no idea how I was gonna do that. And one day I was sitting at home and my mom was like, hey, put it on public access. There's some wrestling, like local wrestling. And it was for NWF when they were down in Camp Washington at the old Bone Crushers. And it was a show and they had like a little like, oh, come on down to they plugged the address. I forget what it is now, but and I lived in Clifton at the time, which was about maybe 10-minute drive. So I was like, oh, let's go down there. We went down there and signed up that day.
Man. Oh. Yeah. Wow. Well, it sounds like Stone Cold was one of your favorite wrestlers. Who were some of the other ones?
So when I was a kid, it always kind of changed. I was definitely always more of a bad guy. I always liked the bad guys. When the NWO first happened, it was the only thing I ever wanted to talk about was how cool it was. When I was younger, I was always like the big thing about the NWO was I was always like a Kevin Nash and Scott Hall fan.
Yeah,
those were two of my favorites. Razor Ramon. I don't even know how old I was the first time I saw Scarface, and the whole Razor Ramon gimmick was just Scarface, and that was like the most amazing thing. And then like once I got more into it, going back and watching stuff from the 80s when he was like teaming up with like Kurt Hennig, who was another one of my favorites. Like Scott Hall just became like this bigger than life thing to me for a while.
Yeah. Did you ever see some of the old stuff when he was teaming with Dan Spivey as the American Starship?
Yeah, a little bit, not too much. I've seen like 2 or 3, like whatever you can find like on YouTube. I definitely did see a match with him and Dan Spivey tagging, but I forget. I think it's only been like 1 or 2. Like I said, like usually whatever I come across on YouTube.
Yeah, because that mustache he had, it really was glorious. I'm not gonna lie.
This thing was amazing. So good.
Yeah. So you said Roger was your trainer right there at Bone Crushers?
Yeah. When I went down, I walked in and I met him, and he was at the time like pretty much the full-time head trainer. We always had Wildcat would pop in at the time. Like he was, I think, just getting real big in like TNA and stuff, and so that blew my mind. Like when I first started, that him and Abyss would come, and that was like crazy. And every now and then they would bring people. When I first started, Carl Anderson was still there. He was like the NWF champ at the time, and he was like the right hand. He did a lot of the more physical aspects and stuff like that. So like my first bumps were with him and things like that.
Cool. Yeah. So 17 years. Good God.
Yeah.
So where all have you been able to travel to in those 17 years?
I mean, I've probably wrestled in every single small town you can think of in Kentucky and Ohio and Indiana. And just kind of, I've pretty much stayed on this side of the country. I never really got to go out of the country to wrestle yet, or anything too crazy. I went to St. Louis and Chicago, and like Tennessee, West Virginia. That's probably about it. But like I said, like everything, if there was a little indie promotion somewhere in Burton, Kentucky, I was probably there.
So where is Burton?
I don't know. I made that one up.
Let's say, I mean, yeah, because I lived in Kentucky for, I lived in Kentucky for about 5 years, and Dwalen's lived there all his life in different parts of Kentucky. I bet say Burton. There probably is a town called Burton.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm sure I pulled that from somewhere, but I mean, like, when I first started NWF, we used to run all kinds of smaller places, like Blanchester, Ohio, and like Bedford, Kentucky, and Beaufort, Ohio. Roger used to run a lot of those kinds of shows, and now it's more roped into just our main staples. But it used to be, we used to travel a lot just for NWF.
That's right, because I think Mount Orb is probably what I would guess is probably the smallest town you run right now.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Even though I did see the one show that they put on in Seaman back, I think it was in the summer. That's a small little bitty town.
Yeah, I think that was before I was back, but I remember hearing about that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was right before you came back. Yeah, no, obviously besides being the, I'll say possession is 9/10 of the law, you have the belt.
Yeah.
What would you say, Dwaylen? Does that make him champ? And
yeah.
I mean,
possession's 9/10 of the law. So.
Possession's 9/10 of the law. You got the belt.
He's holding the championship.
I mean, if he wants it, he can take it. He can try.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, say Sinclair's a friend of ours, but at the same time, I mean, he's got to, he may get kind of mad at us for saying this, but we'll say, look, Titan has the belt.
Yeah.
That means something.
He can he'll send the goof troop after me first, and
there you go. So what are some of the other titles and other accomplishments that you've had in wrestling?
Well, obviously with NWF being kind of the mainstay, I've been pretty fortunate to kind of do it all at NWF. I've had all the titles, and I've won the Thunderdomes and Rumbles and Countdown Brawl. I've done all, like, pretty much everything in NWF. I used to go down to like Georgetown, Kentucky. Larry Gee used to run a show, PTW, and I was down there for a while, and I won the tag team titles with Chris Majors. We were a tag team for a long time down there, and we had those. And then just random places I would go. Sometimes that would be kind of the, hey, you want to come back in June? Well, you're the champ now, kind of thing. But I've got to do and see some cool stuff. I've gotten to do some extra work and stuff for Ring of Honor and WWE and things like that. So it's gotten me into some cool positions that, I definitely otherwise would never have been in. So it's been a pretty cool ride.
Oh, so you're kind of a standby for ROH and WWE, or were you able to actually have like maybe kind of like Lord Crew has been on AEW Dark, and Nikki Victory has also been on AEW Dark. Were you able to do something like that?
I did Ring of Honor. I just basically did like the security type stuff, and in the WWE, I was there. I did like a 3-day thing with them, where I did like a couple tryout matches and a couple segments. I did the Batista promo, or "Give me what I want." That one that got memed. I was one of his security guards, like that was standing on the ramp.
Oh, okay.
Really?
But every time I see those memes, I'm like, oh, I'm in that meme, like right there.
like that's me.
Like, oh, great, that's cool. I got doing a bunch of stuff like that. Like kind of in the middle of all of that was kind of, I was starting to step away from wrestling some, and then I was like, oh, we'll see what happens. And then I got an email about doing some extra work, and then COVID hit. and then now I'm 50 pounds heavier, and I'm like, I hope they don't message me, because I'm not in shape to go do something that good right now.
Now, a friend friend of ours, Randy. I know you've actually met him before, because he was
Yeah.
actually, yeah, he actually had a video and he posted not too long ago, but it was all the way back from like 2017, I think. And it was at Fairfield. And I actually had to ask him, I said, was that Titan in that? Because it was you and Pompano Joe.
Okay.
And one of y'all did a middle or top rope suplex onto a bunch of chairs. Like the chairs were laid out. And I don't remember, was it you suplexing him or him suplexing you?
Yeah, I superplexed him. That was the Fairfield chair nightmare match that we did because we kept
Yes.
hitting each other with chairs, and so they gave us like 50 chairs, and we're like, all right, go at it. And I've never been like a bit like I've never been like a big like hardcore deathmatch, any of that stuff. But I was like, let's just get a bunch of chairs and see what happens. It was fun.
What wrestlers like influenced your style of wrestling?
It kind of changes. It
Mhm.
kind of changes depending on my in-ring style. I mean, when I was younger, I did more high flying stuff, and I loved like Rey Mysterio stuff. I was luchador when I first started, and so that was a big thing. And then after that, I was just kind of like off the rails. The next big thing I did was when I was in a faction called the Revolution, and I watched a lot of like Randy Orton became one of my guys because just it was when he was really doing the voices kind of stuff, and
Mhm.
I liked kind of how it was just gritty. He would grab their head and just like quick punches and
Mhm.
kicks, stuff like that. So just kind of like as I go, I just kind of find things I adapt to, and I've tried to twist them into my own style,
Right.
but it usually kind of ends up it works or it doesn't work.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's hard to say who like it really defines it. I mean, you more or less just cherry pick things I like from all over, really.
Just a little bit from everybody.
Yeah. If I'll see something and I've never seen, someone wrestle before, I'll put on EW, never seen this guy wrestle, and he'll do something. I'd be like, I think I'm gonna try that. So it's like it just some things I like, and because some people I don't like everything one person does. It's
Right.
especially nowadays, it's hard to find one person who's like checks all the boxes.
Yeah.
So I just kind of cherry pick around, and honestly, I take more now because my style now is not as wrestling as much as I think a lot of people's are. Before a couple years ago when I was in shape and I was like the NWF champion, and I was definitely like the indie guy, and lots of super kicks and hitting them as hard as I could and dives and stuff like that. But now I'm kind of old and out of shape and stuff, so I'm like really just work on like character stuff, and like I want to deliver the feel that this is a fight. This is not what you're gonna see every match. You're gonna see some people hit each other and really hard and all that stuff, but I want people to genuinely see that when you're in the ring with me, there's a completely different feel. I try to like grab your emotions and make you believe that I might have just broken someone's jaw.
Gotcha.
And yeah, I can see that. Never thought about it quite like that, but yeah, I know every time I've watched one of your matches, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a good match, and I know it's going to be brutal.
Yeah, they were billing on like social media. I wrestled Chris Demise last Friday, the night I took this, and they were billed not as this big fight feel, and that's what I was like. Okay, people are seeing it. I didn't tell
Mm-hmm.
the social media people to do that, so I'm glad it kind of comes across that way, and I don't have to say it now. Whereas, hopefully, it's kind of a feel, like you said. When I'm out there, you said you kind of feel that, and now it's kind of being perceived that way, and that's just what I want, is to not have to say I'm gonna go out there and yada yada yada. I just want to be like, oh, we already know what's gonna happen.
So before you start having issues with MCE, you and Sean Evans, I'm guessing, are kind of partner up against MCE. Yeah, just let you get the belt down, because yeah, that's a pretty hard burden to carry there. But
it's hot too. It's making my arms
sweat. But before that, you and Juice were just going at it like, for a while, actually.
Yeah.
So I mean, how did that come about? And were you able to keep the mask that you yanked off of him? I was there that night.
No, I don't have the mask. I think it's in the dumpster, probably at the Rumpke dump by now.
Mm.
That was just, I mean, that was one of the things where I came back and the first match I was in was against him and Cat, and I have a weird relationship with the Future Stars because I was one of the creators of the Future Stars when it first started. And so Juice was not from my era. So when I came back and, now Roger and Cat are in charge of it and things like that. And this new generation, a lot of them rub me the wrong way. I'm a fighter, and too many of these kids want to be, they want to be superstars, and you have to earn the right to even be called a wrestler in my book. And so these kids come on, and Juice is a perfect example of he got on and he got a couple cheers, so he got on a little bit more, and he thought he was a superstar. So when I came in and he was in this main event spot, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna have to spend the next couple months teaching this kid that he's not ready for this.
It's like too many people in wrestling want to be the Young Bucks, and not enough people want to be Samoa Joe. Because when I look at Samoa Joe, it's like that's a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because when you got the mask off of him, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's Juice!" I even told Joelle, I was like, we've been fooled the whole time. I had no idea.
No clue.
No clue.
It was insulting. It was insulting, the game. Like, that was so insulting to my intelligence. I was like, and I've seen that before. It's happened before, and I know how these things go. I've been around a long time, so I've seen people try to do that before, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna sit back and wait. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna get that mask, and I'm gonna prove it. And now he's standing outside Bone Crusher's waiting for a handout.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I mean I've never seen anybody eliminated from a battle royal by somebody grabbing their mask and pulling it off. I was like,
as they went over.
Yep. So, and he just kind of, when he fell, he's like, well, crap.
Busted.
Busted. Yeah.
Busted big time.
Yeah, he didn't even try to hide his face or anything. And he was like, well, there it is right there.
Yeah, because most luchadors, when their masks come off, that's their first thing. He's just Juice playing the game. He was disrespecting the luchador community, I was part of in my early years.
And Mr. J was being billed as being from Mexico City.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Joellen, it did just now occur to me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
and people boo me, but he's over here making a mockery of professional wrestling.
But now you have something kind of going on with MCE against Sinclair and Chris Demise and Anika and I'm assuming oh my God,
Warlock and Alex.
Warlock, thank you. The guy with the big, as way Joe Pro James put it, the big 40-pound butter-covered biscuit head. So how exactly did that start?
Well, as much as I love him, Sean Evans makes poor decisions, and when I was dead set on getting the mask off of Mr. J, he kept making bets, and kept losing. So I guess he asked them for money. He asked MCE for some money to make a bet, and he lost that. He lost the bet. He lost money. And I still know Sinclair's past. So unlike a lot of people, I'm not afraid of his money or his power or any of that. Like, he's just a goon. He's a goofball little milk dud. He's stupid. He's an idiot. And so when Sinclair was like, these guys give me a hard time, I was like, you're going to let Carlton give you a hard time? So I was like, all right. I got nothing better to do. I took care of Juice, so I was my schedule was pretty free.
Oh, there you go. So
now here we are. Now they really want to mess around. So I took the belt.
So you got the belt. And you're also going to be in the Thunderdome this upcoming Saturday, which I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm planning on going. So, well, besides Juice and we're right now, MCU, who have been some of your favorite opponents?
That's tough. Forever. I used to love wrestling Virus, Sean the Virus Hard Drive. We were best friends off and on, but you know, there was a point where I broke his neck, and then he came back and we wrestled for I think a year and a half or 2 years. Pretty much almost only wrestled each other, and just every night just beat on each other. And you know, again, that's what I'm about. Like that's even that when I was in my like super indie guy wrestling phase, I still love to just get in there with him and just beat each other, you know. and still, you know, now and to this day, you know, we're still really good friends. So it's fun to look back on. I used to love wrestle Jordan Clearwater because I remember the first day he walked into Bone Crushers, and seeing him progress was really cool. And kind of right, he left. You know, he went out and started wrestling for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. He was, you know, getting on like the New Japan stuff and or whatever. And at FanFest a couple of years ago, I taunted him into wrestling me, and we had probably one of my favorite matches and probably one of my favorite stories leading into the match. I mean, I clotheslined his girlfriend and punched her dad in the face. Like I got crazy. That was when I kind of lost it and never looked back. So that's always like a special feud I had, especially because I wrestled him. I was one of his first like 2 or 3 matches, and then getting to wrestle him after he kind of got good was fun.
Oh, wow. So I've only seen you as a heel. Do you ever wrestle as a face at all?
Not now.
No.
I mean, it's been a while. It's been a pretty good while. I think last time I was a face anywhere was probably down in Georgetown at PTW in probably 2019, I guess. I think that was the last time I did anything, and even then I was still kind of. I think the last time, I think right before I stopped wrestling there, I actually I was with Swayze. I mean, I was in a big old group with Adam Swayze, so I wasn't even. I was a heel down there too.
Do you like being heel better?
I think it just resonates easier because it's closer to my personality.
Gotcha.
I mean, I'm pretty gnarly when it comes to the things I'll do and say to make people boo me, but it's not an extra effort. You can tell when people are kind of faking it, and it's just like, shut up, you're a fat redneck, I don't like you. And it's not natural. And I'm pretty reserved person. I'm pretty calm and collected most of the time. I just like hanging out and having a beer. But I don't mean this in as bad as this is gonna sound, but humanity just irritates me so bad.
Same.
Like,
I completely understand.
Like, so
I completely understand.
All those thoughts, and you know, it just of what you want to say to the Karens, you know, and stuff like that, like just the babies of the new generation, like all of that thing. That all just kind of manifests itself because when I put the mask on and walk through the curtain, you know, I'm the subdued guy has no place here. You know what I mean?
Right.
All of that just manifests itself, and you know, it just comes out. So I just generally don't like faking being nice. And if I like you, it's usually not. If you think I like you, I probably like you because I'm not that fake.
Right.
I'll be standoffish if I don't like you.
Yeah, that's how I'm the same way. I totally get it.
It makes me wonder how Joel and I've been friends now for 3 decades.
It's hard to find that. It's really hard to find
it really is.
There's only a few people that, I mean, we still are just constantly staying in touch with. Back from high school, obviously. That's where we met, was in high school. But so yeah, I mean, I definitely get what you're saying. You know, yeah, and we made a point. You know, I think Joel and I, we've been friends for so long because we are both, I guess, say real. I hate saying, "Oh, I'm real." I mean, but
right,
we try to be real with people. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. And I feel like it's just, and especially in society, that is typically interpreted as a bad guy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's fine. You know, like I said, even as a kid, I was always drawn to the bad guys in wrestling and in the movies. You know, I'm a big like Marvel, I like all that stuff, and I'm always more drawn to the villains. And I'll go, I'll watch one of those movies. I'm not gonna say, ooh, I like Iron Man. I'm gonna go read an Iron Man comic. I'm gonna go say, I need to go get all the Thanos comics now and find out.
Yeah, I need to see everything about Thanos and Killmonger.
Yeah,
that's how I am. It's like I want to see the bad guys.
Yeah, why is he like this?
Yeah.
So even for like the aspects of my personality, I always cherry pick from villains. A lot of comic villains I cherry pick things from.
Yeah. So besides the Thunderdome coming up and some of the other NWF events, I know there's the one in Fairfield. That's the night of the champions, I think is, or something like that. That's what they're calling it.
Yeah, I think all the titles will be on the line.
You can put that belt up.
Yeah. So, Sinclair can come get it there if that's what.
Right.
Oh, there you go.
I'll have a great time.
And Mount Orb, I don't remember the exact date, but I know there's another Mount Orb show coming at some point. I'm kind of prone to that one because I live in Mount Orb, so it's a 10-minute drive for me. Right. You know, so boom, I'm there. The Fairfield one, I'll be honest with you, it's not so much the drive there, it's the drive back.
Yeah.
You know, because it's at least an hour for me. But and last time I went there, I was stupid and wore shorts outside, and it was freezing. And I was like, yeah. But anyway, you know, enough about
Ohio
me.
weather.
Yeah. Yeah, Dwaylen, sure you don't want to come up here? You know, like I said, you know, you've always got a place to stay with me. You know that. So
yeah, I'll bring shorts and pants just to be on the safe side.
Maybe a fur coat and a tank top. You never know. Toboggan, you got to be prepared.
So what are some of the other upcoming things? Do you have any non-NWF things going on, or just are you staying strictly with NWF right now?
Yeah, for now, I'm just kind of staying around here and just kind of just doing NWF for now. I've had some people reach out, trying to bring me in, and I'm not where I want to be yet. So I've kind of NWF, you know, unfortunately I'm one of the old guys now, so I can do everything in my pace. I can get away with murder, kind of, you know what I mean? Because I'm like the old guy, and I've carried these around, so everybody's afraid of me. But I'm just kind of finding my pace again, because again, I'm getting older. I know that meter is ticking down, so I don't want to. I'm not just gonna go. I wrestle in every little small town for 17 years. I never really took a break. Just right before, at the beginning of 2020 was my first actual break in wrestling. I never, knock on wood, never had any injuries or anything that took me out for more than a week or a couple weeks. But so I never had an extended time off, and so kind of coming back has kind of been, it's been a weird recalibration, if you will.
So, but if somebody wanted to get a hold of you for any kind of bookings, how would they do it? Through just like Twitter or Facebook or?
What? Yeah, I'm on pretty much everything on social media. Great King Titan. You can email me for bookings or anything, any information you need at greatkingtitan@gmail.com. So it's pretty easy to find me. I have a name that I don't have to have a bunch of random symbols and zeros in. So it's just my name is Great King Titan. If you Google it, you'll probably find something.
I always say that, and I'll go Google it, and I'll probably find something goofy because that's what happens to me. You know, where somebody has squatted on something of yours. Yeah. You know, it happens. I mean, that's why our Twitter is at Booking Armchair, not Armchair Booking, because somebody was already squatting on Armchair Booking.
Right.
You would think it's almost a random thing, but anyway.
Some guy tried to take the name Titan, and I'm still going to fight him if he tries to come at me for that.
Yeah, actually, that was actually one of the things I was going to ask. Have you had any conflicts? Because I know who it is you're talking about. You know, even though you've been Great King Titan, I'm assuming because I saw you back in, like I said, 2017 with Titan. Yeah,
I've been Titan for I don't know how long, probably 6 or 7 years now. And luckily, I mean, it's not, you know, we're on two different planes, so I don't think it's gonna be an issue. I don't think, but I literally, the night I found out, I think the night, like he said, like, I use my name, I was like luckily we know some of the same people, so I was like, am I gonna have to worry about getting a cease and desist? Because everyone, but I mean, everyone was like, well, I mean, you've been doing it longer. I do have technically I have a creative trademark on it because I have a YouTube channel dedicated to it with you know, 50, 60, 70 videos and merch, and I have my name on things. So I was told I do have a creative trademark because I've had it for so long. So if it were to get something like that, Not I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna be that guy. But if the other party was gonna try to take it from me, I would definitely exercise my rights to keep it, unless he wants to cut me a check.
Right.
I say, yeah, if somebody cuts me a check for something like that, I'd be real tipped to the chase. Depending on what the amount was.
I know your friends. I know what your bank account looks like, buddy.
Right.
It's not gonna come cheap. I have it on.
Yeah.
I have this thing branded on stuff. So fucking 6 figures for this name.
Yeah, actually, Jericho just had a guy on his podcast recently, and he was a lawyer. He actually dealt with stuff like that, and he said what it comes down to is who's been using it longer. And because he said, remember the whole deal with Cody Rhodes when he went to AEW, they couldn't call him Cody Rhodes at first.
Right.
They were just calling him just Cody.
Yeah.
And then they found an old video or an old like a flyer, like a thing, because he was in, he actually wrestled in high school. And like part of his senior year, he actually started calling himself Cody Rhodes back then, even though his name was Cody Runnels.
Right.
And then later on, they actually had him as part of a wrestling event. He wasn't wrestling, but it was when his dad had the Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling thing, and he was introduced as like, Cody Rhodes back then. And the lawyer, somebody just happened to see it. They said to him, he's like, "Give me that now," and he sent to Cody. And then after that, he was able to use the name Cody Rhodes outside of WWE because he proved he had it first. So
yeah.
Not that I want somebody to come after me and smack me around for telling you that, but I'll tell you that.
No, I appreciate it. That was kind of the general idea I had, was that, having it on stuff and using it for a long time basically gave me first swing at it. So like I said, I'm not that worried about it. I don't think it's ever going to get to anything like that, but it definitely annoyed me. I mean, I know it wasn't done on purpose. It's not like, oh, I'm sure he didn't see myself like, oh, it's a great name. It's kind of a generic name, but I feel like it's kind of not.
Well, the name, I mean, itself, actually, it kind of tells something, because you think of Titan. You think of something,
right,
pretty strong,
Yeah,
so.
that was always the thing when I first started using it, and people were like, that you're not. But I actually got booked at this place, and I guess like the guy didn't really. He just saw a couple pictures or whatever. And when I showed up, he was like, "Where's the rest of you? I saw your pictures," because I used to be in a little bit better shape. I was a little bit bigger up top, but I think he was expecting some 6'6" dude walking in. And I'm like, well, I always tell people, well, it was wait till you see me wrestle, and I wrestle like a Titan. I might not look like it, but I might not be a giant, but my presence is out of its
right.
And one of the things I was actually going to say, you were talking about earlier, when you put on the mask, you kind of become a different person. I'm thinking, oh, he's part of Slipknot, because those guys, they've actually said that. They said when they put on the masks, they actually record, or at least they used to. They would record wearing the masks,
right?
So I'm thinking that's kind of along the same lines. But that kind of leads me into, when you go on a road trip, when you're going to like Georgetown, or if you're going to Chicago or wherever, and you're on the road, what would be like on your typical music playlist? And I'm going to guess there's going to be a little bit of metal, because I know your theme song.
Right.
I can't think of the exact title of it right now, but I actually, a couple times when you came out, I was like, look at my phone going, "Hey Siri, who is this?" And I would, hold the phone up so listen to it. So I would actually have the name of the song.
Yeah.
So is it metal, or you got a little bit of a mixture in there?
It's definitely a pretty big mix. In my Spotify, I have like 3,000 or 4,000 songs. And it's just a complete mixed bag of everything. Like metal, and that was a band I randomly just kind of. I think I watched like a video on Instagram or something, and then they had one of the random songs. It's a band called Fox Lake, and I was like, oh, that's a cool song. So it was just like, oh, I'll add that to my Spotify, and then you get bored. I'm like, oh, I wonder what the other songs sound like. And the song I use is called Home Wrecker, and I just kind of the mindset I was in. Coming back, I knew I've always been a big persona and music guy. So the mindset I was in, getting ready to come back, it just kind of, that song, the words just kind of resonated. I was like, this is it. So that's why I just kind of picked it. And now I have like 2 other albums on my Spotify. But it kind of depends on my mood, really. Like lately, I've gotten really back into Nirvana for like no reason. So at the top of my list, there's like randomly like 5 Nirvana songs, and then there's like a Mariah Carey song. Just like I'll be bored and like put on something. Sometimes I want to listen to fantasy. Just or like The Weeknd. I think The Weeknd, Blinding Lights. was at the top of my most played for like 2 years straight. It only just got overtaken a couple months ago by "Do You Want to Taste It," the theme song for Peacemaker. Because
I like that song. Yeah.
And 2 songs under that is like "Sunflower" by Post Malone, and then under that is "Country Roads" by John Denver. Like, I just have such a weird assortment of music that I listen to, and like I'm a big Frank Sinatra guy. The Rat Pack. I used to have big pictures of him all over my walls, and Elvis. So just my music is just mood based a lot of the time. Whenever I have like a get together or something, I use the Bluetooth speaker and just put my Spotify on. It's people kind of don't like it if because it's like, oh, here's some Drake, and then now it's why is Power Rangers theme song playing?
Yeah.
Just hit skip. Oh, cool, Metallica. Oh no, I don't like this song. Skip it. Oh, Usher. All right. Oh, the Three's Company theme song. Like, it's just like random or Disney. Like, why are we listening to The Circle of Life right now? Elton John. What?
Hey, Dwaylen, we may actually have found somebody whose music taste is more eclectic than yours.
I know.
I mean, and believe me, that's saying something. So you're a Cincinnati native, born and raised, right?
Yep.
So got to ask this of everybody, who is from Cincinnati, lives in Cincinnati. You call yourself Cincinnatian. Well, I mean, I wouldn't even call myself one, even though because I'm not originally from here. But which do you prefer, Gold Star or Skyline?
So I like Skyline. I like Gold Star's Conies better.
Okay.
Pretty much everything else Skyline. There's a Skyline like 2 minutes from my house, so I eat Skyline way more. But I don't dislike either. And it's so funny to me that people are like, it's a war sometimes. People are like, oh,
they get serious about that.
Yeah. I'm like, if you like chili, give me a blind taste test and I probably couldn't tell you the difference. You know what I mean? Like, it's chili. It's Cincinnati chili. It's hard to mess up. It's already an odd concept.
Do either of y'all eat it on spaghetti? Because I was at the grocery store yesterday.
Yes.
And they had it frozen. And it was like frozen. It was Skyline chili spaghetti.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
that's
like, I got to ask Steve if he eats it that way.
Yes. Do you have the 3 ways, the 4 ways, or the 5 ways?
Yeah.
Because the 3 way is just the spaghetti on chili, I think. I don't, because I always get a 5 way, which has like the onions and mustard thrown in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think of the 3 way is just like chili, spaghetti, and cheese. And then the 4 way is either add beans or onions. And the 5 way is like bean, onions, and mustard. And
yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it took something a little bit to kind of get used to being around here, and the fact that nobody around here thinks it's strange. Is just everybody who moves here goes, "You do what?" But then you get it's kind of like the whole Frisch's thing with the tartar sauce and the hamburgers. Like I said that before too.
Yeah. That's a weird one.
Yeah. But I was like, okay, tartar sauce and hamburgers, because my wife, right before we got married, first time I went to a Frisch's and I got like a chicken sandwich, and she was ready to call off the wedding because, because I did not get a big boy with, the tartar sauce. I'm like, what tartar sauce and hamburger? Then I tried it later on. I was like, okay, that's actually pretty decent, but it's got to be, I guess, the Frisch's tartar sauce. It can't be like, you just can't randomly throw tartar sauce on there. It's got to be their tartar sauce.
Oh yeah.
I was like, all right. And I've gotten used to the sports teams. I mean, I'll take my son, I'll actually cheer for the Reds. The Bengals, I cheered for them in the Super Bowl just because I felt, hey, I mean, I was like, hey, that's pretty good stuff. I mean, they're in the Super Bowl.
Excuse me.
But so I mean, yeah, it's with the food's definitely interesting around here. So so Dwaylen, you have any more questions for him?
No, nothing I can think of. I know you're just waiting on Sinclair to come try to take that belt.
He's gonna try. I believe on Friday we're gonna see if he can do it.
Okay. What am I doing? I don't even know what I'm doing Friday. But I know Saturday I'm trying to make it down to Covington. That's my goal, because I got to see the Thunderdome. Now who
match?
Oh yeah, that's what someone told me. Like, but Randy, he's really wanting to go, and he said, he said the Thunderdome never disappoints.
Yeah.
So who else? Like you, I think Swayze's in there because he's defending his belt against all of you.
Yeah.
Who else? Andrew Reed, is he in it?
No, it's me and Swayze, Rex, Swinger, Nasty Russ, Pompano Joe, Star Rider, and James Cross. That's
Oh,
all 8.
oh wow. So there's not
Man.
a weak one in there at all.
Oh no, we said Swayze.
No. So actually, you know what? That'd be a match I'd want to see is you and Swayze. Because
We wrestled 100 times. He was one of my first long-term feuds when I won the NWF title for the second time. We
Okay.
feuded. It was during that feud that he introduced Gideon Weinstein. And
okay.
I would like to wrestle him again now because well, he's moved up a couple notches, but
Right.
I used to just maul him.
Hmm.
Oh, I mean, I'd say right now he's probably the most hated person in the NWF.
Yeah, he's doing a good job.
Yeah. So,
He's doing something right.
so do you have any more information, any last words, any messages for anybody?
Just make it out, make it out to the shows and support NWF, support indie wrestling. That's a big thing. Is just supporting the indies, man, because it's getting more prevalent now thanks to like AEW kind of having good turnover on bringing people in for that kind of stuff. So yeah, check out the NWF and check me out on YouTube. I got a whole bunch of stuff on there you can go watch. I'm probably gonna start doing that again soon. And I have some pretty interesting interviews with a couple people you guys would know. So
Cool.
it's not a bad
I'll
time.
have to check that out.
Yeah, just do a search for Great King Titan on YouTube.
Yep.
All right.
You can find it on YouTube.
Cool. I'll have to make sure whenever I post this, I have the link as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was a good time. I got into it kind of during COVID, and then I did it for a while, and then I did a short film, which is also on my YouTube, which is kind of a storied version of how I got back into wrestling. Well, it's only one part of it. The other part's not done yet because we kind of got lazy, but it's Swayze's in that. It's one of Swayze's featured films, He's in that.
Okay. Yeah, the A-lister.
Yeah, but hopefully there's more stuff coming soon for my YouTube.
Okay.
All right, cool. Definitely check it out. So, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, definitely Great King Titan. Go if you haven't seen his matches, go check him out because the man, he is amazing in the ring. And like you said, he may not be big in stature, but once the bell rings, he's all about that fight, and he'll throw it to you. So,
oh yeah.
But thank you, sir, for coming on. And
yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me. It was a good time. Anytime.
All right.
I'll come again. I got to beat Sinclair's record of 3, so I'm gonna come on here 4 times.
Oh, well, there you
All
go.
right.
So we
Sounds
got to tell Sinclair too. He's got some competition.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'll do a little thing with him on here.
that'll you know what?
That'd be great.
We need to see if we can arrange that.
Yeah.
And but until we do that, see you. God bless.
God bless.
Thanks, brother. Thank you.